alien warlords claimed, "No creature can tame us." Until a human walked in the Khazrath arena had never seen silence like this. For 3 centuries, the Crimson Sands had drunk the blood of thousands. Warriors from across the galaxy came to challenge the Khazrath warlords, and for 3 centuries none had succeeded. The twin sons of Vexhai cast long shadows across the amphitheater as spectators from dozens of species filled the stone seats, their various forms of breathing creating a symphony of anticipation. Commander Thekvar stood at the center of the arena, his 4 arms crossed over his chitinous chest. At 12 feet tall, with natural armor plating that had deflected plasma, bolts and vibroblades alike, he was the embodiment of Khazrath supremacy. His mandibles clicked in what passed for laughter among his kind. "Behold," his voice boomed across the arena, translated into 100 languages simultaneously. "Another challenger approaches. Tell me, creature, from what world do you hail, that I might add its name to my list of conquered realms?" The arena's massive gates groaned open, and a figure walked through. The crowd fell silent. It was small, barely 6 feet tall, with soft pink skin covered by simple fabric. No natural armor, no visible weapons, no additional limbs or enhanced features. The creature moved with an odd bipedal gait that seemed almost clumsy compared to the fluid grace of most galactic species. "I am Marcus Chen," the figure said, his voice carrying clearly despite its unimpressive volume. "From Earth." Thekvar's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, the Khazrath equivalent of confusion. "Earth? I have never heard of this world. You appear to be... What do the databases call your species? Human." "That's right." A ripple of whispers ran through the crowd. Humans were known throughout the galaxy, but not as warriors. They were traders, diplomats, engineers, the galaxy's handymen. Useful, certainly, but hardly the stuff of arena legends. Thekvar's mandibles clicked again. "Human, you must be lost. This is the arena of champions where only the galaxy's greatest warriors dare tread. Perhaps you seek the diplomatic quarter, or the merchant district." Marcus adjusted something on his wrist. A simple timepiece, the crowd noted with growing bewilderment. "No, I'm exactly where I need to be. I've come to challenge you." The silence stretched until it became uncomfortable. Then Thekvar threw back his massive head and roared with laughter, a sound that shook dust from the arena's ancient stones. "Challenge? Me? You have no natural weapons, no armor, no enhanced strength or speed. What could a human possibly possess that would threaten a Khazrath warlord?" Marcus smiled, an expression that seemed to make several species in the crowd unconsciously lean back in their seats. There was something unsettling about the way a human's facial muscles could rearrange themselves. "3 things," Marcus said, calmly. "Endurance, adaptability, and stubbornness." The formal challenge was accepted as tradition demanded. The rules were simple. No weapons except what nature provided, no armor except what one was born with, and the fight continued until one combatant could no longer stand. Thekvar cracked his knuckles, all 16 of them. "I have fought crystalline, berserkers whose bodies could shatter diamond. I have defeated void wraiths who could phase between dimensions. I have broken the backs of Titan-class megafauna. What hope does a soft, weak human have against such experience?" "Well," Marcus said, beginning to stretch in a way that looked almost ritualistic, "let's find out." The battle began at sunset. Thekvar's first charge was devastating, a blur of chitinous armor and flailing limbs that should have ended the fight instantly. But Marcus wasn't there when the warlord's claws swept through the space his head had occupied. The human had moved with an economy of motion that spoke of training, sliding just far enough to avoid the strike while positioning himself for a counterattack. His fist struck Thekvar's knee joint with surgical precision. The warlord barely felt it. For the first hour, the crowd was entertained by what appeared to be an elaborate dance. Thekvar would attack with overwhelming force and Marcus would slip away, occasionally landing strikes that seemed insignificant against the warlords. Natural armor. It was clearly only a matter of time before the human's luck ran out. But as the second hour began, something changed. Thekvar's movements became fractionally slower. His breathing grew heavier. The constant attacks, each one requiring tremendous energy to generate enough force to crush stone, were taking their toll. Meanwhile, Marcus continued his patient work, not trying to break through the armor but targeting the joints where it was thinnest. By the third hour, the crowd had grown quiet with realization. By the fourth hour, Thekvar was visibly struggling. What are you?" the warlord gasped, his mandibles clicking with exhaustion. Marcus, still moving with the same steady rhythm he'd maintained since the fight began, wiped a small amount of blood from a cut on his cheek. "I told you, human. We're not the strongest species in the galaxy, or the fastest, or the most naturally armed, but we are the best at not giving up." The truth was becoming clear to everyone watching. While other species had evolved overwhelming strength or devastating natural weapons, humans had evolved something different. The ability to keep going when others couldn't. They were persistence hunters, capable of chasing prey across continents until it collapsed from exhaustion. As the fifth hour began, Thekvar stumbled. Marcus had never stopped moving, never stopped the systematic dismantling of his opponents' defenses. Each strike was precisely placed, targeting nerve clusters and stress points that he'd identified during their long dance. The human's knowledge of anatomy, gained from studying hundreds of species, combined with an almost supernatural ability to adapt and endure. "Yield," Marcus said quietly as Thekvar fell to one knee. "You've fought with honor." But the warlord's pride wouldn't allow it. With a final surge of desperate energy, he launched himself at the human. Marcus stepped aside, extended one foot, and used Thekvar's own momentum to send him crashing into the arena wall. The Khazrath warlord did not get up. In the silence that followed, Marcus walked to the fallen warrior and offered his hand. "Good fight. Your species has incredible natural advantages. With proper conditioning, you could probably fight for 12 hours straight." Thekvar stared at the extended hand, a gesture of respect from the very creature he'd dismissed as weak. Slowly, carefully, he accepted the assistance. "How?" was all he managed to ask. Marcus helped him to his feet, supporting the much larger warrior with surprising strength. "On my world, we have a saying. It's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. We learned long ago that sometimes the best way to win isn't to be the strongest. It's to be the last one standing." As they walked toward the arena's medical facility together, the crowd remained in stunned silence. Then, slowly, the applause began. It started with the humans in the stands. There were more of them than anyone had realized, and spread to other species until the entire arena thundered with approval. Word of the humans' victory spread across the galaxy within days. The message was simple but profound. Never underestimate a species that had climbed to the top of their food chain, not through strength or speed, but through sheer bloody-minded refusal to quit. In the Khazrath language, they coined a new phrase. That day, human stubborn, the highest compliment a warrior could receive. And in the far reaches of space, where darker threats gathered their strength, certain entities began to reassess their invasion plans for a small blue world called Earth. After all, it was one thing to conquer a world of warriors. It was quite another to face a species that simply refused to be conquered.